Live from Fairlawn Church in Fort Pierce, Florida, you are joining Mark Aycock and Jimmy Lloyd in the lobby.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us in the lobby. I'm Pastor Jimmy, and I am sitting with over here to my left is none other than
Pastor Mark.
All right. So how you doing, Mark Aycock?
I'm doing pretty good actually today. Doing great. Wonderful. Blessed.
Yeah.
Blessed.
How's your week been? Anything exciting? Anything going on? Anything new? Anything riveting that we may just need to know about?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Yep.
Man, thanks, guys.
No problem.
Yeah, no wonder we have all the viewers, both of them, that tune in
Yeah.
with all of that. Yes.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Mark Aycock. Things are going pretty good, glad you asked. Things having a pretty good week. I'm excited about Sunday because this really good-looking, funny guy is going to be speaking at Fairlawn Church.
I'm not speaking.
On Sunday. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Funny and good-looking.
Yeah,
both
me.
those.
I'm not speaking.
Yeah.
You got them dates confused.
So, no, I am going to be speaking. Not 100% sure what I'm going to be speaking on just yet. I know, time is running out. I got a couple of different things that it could go either way.
But I'm pretty sure it'll be divine perspective in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'll probably be divinely persuaded on what to speak about.
With some divine perspective somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely divineness going to go on with it.
Probably.
Yeah. So, anyways, so you got some stuff that we can talk about? You got anything that
No, I was hoping
people are
you'd
going to
come
listen
up
to?
with a topic, or you had something planned.
You want me to come up with the topic?
No, I kind of got something I want to kind of throw a question, or maybe an example of something that's kind of, for lack of better terms, is I'm really starting to see a lot of this.
Okay.
So I just kind of want to give you an example.
So you're going to give me an example.
Right.
Because first you said you're going to ask a question, so I just needed to know. So this example that you give me, is there a question in the example, just so I can prepare myself?
Boom. Found it.
You did?
Yes.
All right. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are excited because this is going to be good. It's going to be good stuff, and I know you've been wondering, why am I watching this? You're about to find out.
That's right.
Let's go.
All right. So what I've noticed is that customer service has become very, very horrible. Any and almost everywhere you go, besides for the older generation. They understand the value of customer service. I've walked in a couple places, and basically, I'll give you an idea. I went over to one place, and I watched the lady behind the counter, and she had 3 young college students, I guess I would say, working for her. And I ordered something, and one of the students went over. I ordered a milkshake, okay?
Okay.
So one of the students went over and made probably a quarter of a cup too much. Now, the lady who was in charge, the manager, went over, and all she could say was, "You made too much. You made too much. What a waste. What a waste. You made too much. You made too much." That's all she could focus on. Instead of turning to me and seeing that, which she knew this, I ordered 1 milkshake for me. Now, there's a quarter cup left over. She's seen that I had my son with me that did not order anything. She could have gained a customer for life if she would have put that in a cup and she would have said, "Here, this is for you. This is for your son. No extra charge. I want him to have this. You know what I mean? That would have spoke volumes to me and customer relations. That would have spoke volume to me. But she was so focused on like disciplining and punishing the young girl behind the counter because she made a quarter of a cup too much. She missed out on an opportunity. And because of that, I'll never go back there again. She lost a customer because she doesn't have any idea what she's doing as an owner of a business. And she has no idea what customer relations is like. And you see this a lot of times with when you walk in a store and nobody even cares that you're there. They don't want to answer your questions. They just want to basically ring you up. If you see an item you like, they'll ring it up, and they're not there to answer any questions. They're not there to cater to you or help you in any which way, shape, or form because they are just basically employees. And there's basically, again, customer relations is not being taught. It's being eradicated, basically, is what it is. Mm-hmm. And you know, why do you think that is? And I got a couple guesses, but I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Well, I think everybody has experienced what you're talking about in one way or the other. I'll even go as far to say I think all of us at some point are guilty of doing the same thing. And maybe it's not in a business setting or we're not business owners. I don't know where you were. We don't need to go into what place that it was. Whether and it really don't even matter if was it an owner or was it a manager, because if I'm an owner of a business and I put you as a manager, you're an extension of me. So what you do, that represents me. Mm-hmm. So I might as well be doing that. So then it comes back on me is the lack of training with that. I think what you probably experienced was a manager that got tunnel vision. And we don't know what happened. We don't know what went on before this. You know, has this been a constant thing? Has this been a constant issue? Did she always make a little too much milkshake and then she'd put it over to the side and save it for herself, and then she had her own free milkshake? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of speculation that goes in with that. I think that as any kind of leader or manager, it's important to step back, especially in front of a customer. And I don't care what kind of business you are in the customer service business. Here, as pastors of a church, we are in the customer service business. It is a customer service. There's customer service there. I remember back when I was trying to get hired before I was ever hired at a fire department, and I'd go into interviews, and I remember reading in a book is no matter what you do or what you're doing, you're in the customer service business. And I would always throw that in my interviews as being a firefighter, as being a paramedic. I am in the customer service business. You're dealing with people, in other words. So this manager, they kind of lost sight of that. And instead of managing somebody, and which it could have been a teachable moment, and especially there was a lost opportunity because, like you said, they could have gained a customer for life. Instead, they were focused on their point, or focused on trying to like pound this into that employee. Whether it's like, hey, I'm going to get onto her right in front of my customers, she's going to be embarrassed, and then she's going to finally get it. If that is what she was thinking, I don't know.
I'll give you another analogy.
Okay.
I know two identical shop owners, okay, in different cities, okay? And one shop owner has made, let's just say both shop owners have made millions of dollars owning this type of business, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, one of the shop owners has taken and has kind of like backed out of the whole, has gotten older and has backed out and has given the business over to a grandson. And a grandson that sits behind the counter with an entitlement and a smug attitude and doesn't get off of his butt to service anybody who comes in. Actually, when you come in, it's kind of like you are a problem as to why you're standing in front of this individual who's been given everything, And the grandson, it's never really, as I see, and I kind of know the background, has never really had to work for anything. You're almost like a irritation coming in and bothering him when you're trying to buy something or get a service from that business. And you just leave there feeling like, you just bothered this kid, And then there's another business that the same owner has been there 49 years, and he knows everybody on a first-name basis when they walk in that door. And he's like, how are you doing such and such? 49 years in one spot, and the place is packed inside and out Monday through Saturday. It is packed because of old school customer service. How are you? Shake of the hand. My word is gold. You guys are great. I know your family. How's your kids? How's your wife? I know, they must be going to college now. Just everything. Customer service, old school customer service is there, and it shows. It shines. What says you?
I would say that, it goes more than just, old school customer service or not. It goes back to just making people feel important and just the people that you come in contact with. There's some people that they're just gifted at that. That just comes normal to them. We've talked about it. I have a good friend of mine that no matter what, like we go somewhere and he's talking to me, I feel like I'm the only person in the room. Like there is no distractions. He's not checking his cell phone. In fact, I was telling you this before, like we'd go to breakfast and the waitress would come to take, our order, and he'd say, just give us a second. And he would just talk to me about whatever it is we were talking to. He would not even interrupt the conversation to order food. And I guess it depends on whose perspective you look at that. From the waitress, am I like, this dude's rude? But from my perspective, sitting there across from them, it's like, dude, he really cares about what I asked or what we're talking about, and he's not going to stop even to order food until he's done with that. And it makes me feel important. And there's some people that that just comes natural. That's their thing. And there's other people that have to work at it. But regardless, it's making people feel important, not just the customers that come in, but you got to make the people that are working for you or the people that are underneath you as a leader feel important as well. And if you don't do that, you're going to lose them. Like I guarantee you, this lady that you're talking about with the milkshake situation, the girl that was making the milkshake, if she's still working there, ever how long it was, I'll be surprised. But even if she is, it's not going to be for long. So, how did it make her feel? She definitely didn't feel important, right? Switch that around, and it could have just simply been, hey, we got some milkshake left. Give it to his son.
It could have been a teachable moment.
Yeah, and then your son would have been like, well, I got a free milkshake, and all excited. And then that would have, it would have made everybody in that room feel important. And it's really just people skills, I guess. It's just, taking that step back. How much money did they lose from that little bit of milkshake wasted? They lost it anyways, either which way. And then when y'all left,
and
then she could have said something.
she poured it out instead of giving it to my son that was sitting right there. That's where her mindset was.
Yeah, so she'd rather just pour it out.
And yell at her employee. Yeah.
Right, so everybody left there feeling like crap. Nobody felt like they were important.
Yes.
You were like, I'll never go back there.
Ever again, never.
It made you feel awkward as a customer. She was like, man, I got to get a new job.
Yep.
And then the manager was upset. So now that's just the atmosphere that you bring. And as a leader, as a manager, as an owner, whatever, when you put in a position as a leader, you got to pay attention to that. How do I make people feel? You got to pay attention to the atmosphere that you bring when you walk in. And I think that's lost on a lot of people now. And it's just like kind of going through the motion, especially if you're just going through something that's just it's not.
All right. So, I'd like to look at a verse here because I really think what I'm trying to get at is that there's different identities going on here. I think of it in three different categories. I think of that we are sons or daughters.
Okay.
I think that it's either A, sons or daughters.
Okay.
B, we operate out of a slave mindset. Okay. Or C, we operate out of an orphan mindset.
Okay.
Okay, and if we look at an orphan mindset, an orphan never takes responsibility. Orphan is someone who is the greatest blame shifter in the world. They don't do anything wrong. It's everybody else's fault, everybody else's problem. They don't ever take responsibility. And I like in Lamentations 5, it kind of gives us some insight into the ways of an orphan. And I'll read this, Lamentations 5:3. We have become orphans without a father. Our mothers are like widows. We, as orphans, have to pay for our drinking water. Our wood comes to us at a price. Our pursuers are at our necks, meaning that they have credit debt. Our pursuers are at our necks. We are worn out. There is no rest for us. So again, if you're an orphan mentality, you're always constantly running. There's no rest. How many people do you know like that? They just come up and constantly, oh, I'm just worn out. There's just no rest for me, and there's this issue and always drama.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no rest for us. We have submitted to Egypt and Assyria to get enough bread. So basically they put themselves in debt to other people to get food all the time, or asking for food, indebted for food, indebted for money constantly. Slaves, it's interesting. It says slaves rule over us. There's no one to deliver us from their hand. We get our bread at the risk of our lives because of the sword in the wilderness. Our skin has become as hot as ovens because of the burning heat of famine. So again, I think this describes an orphan's mindset. I know that in an orphan's mindset, there is no customer service. There's only punishment. Everybody else is at fault. An orphan mindset. An orphan also, will take and polish everything that they have because they feel like it's theirs and it's nobody else's, and they'll polish and scrub it and clean it and admire it and set it up on a shelf, and not let anything happen to it. They're OCD about the things that they own because, again, it's all about them. They've worked for everything that they've got, what little they got, and no one better take it from them or mess it up, or you'll pay the price. That's kind of roundabout of an orphan mindset. And I think it's very interesting. It says the slaves rule over them because the Bible tells us that a slave does not know what its master is doing. So basically, a slave mindset is just go do this. Don't ask any questions.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you why you're doing it. You don't need to know why to do it. You just need to shut up and go do it. You're a slave. So it's interesting that people who have a slave mindset, that they just don't ask no questions. They're just there to fill a time clock. They're told to sit there. And if a customer comes up, you check them out and ring them out. But you better be there from time 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 in the afternoon, and you better not leave 1 minute till 12, 11:59. You better still be there at your post. And a slave will sit there the whole time and will not do anything unless they're told to do it. They will not reach out. They will not help. They will not care about customer care. And you can go into all these retail departments and find this and see this. People who are working off commission will reach out and try to sell you something. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about hourly employees. You see this amongst hourly employees more than anything else. Just there to fill a void, get paid a check, not do anything extra, not care about anybody, hopes nobody comes in the business so they wouldn't have to work, and then go home and just collect their check at the end of the week.
Okay, so with that, so then it's going to try to play the part of if somebody may be watching this and they're like, well, that's, I'm an hourly employee. I work for whatever, this business or whatever it is. So, yeah, that's what I do to do a living and stuff. And then you're just like, well, or what are you saying? Are you saying that I I have a slave mindset? I mean, is it so? If somebody's watching this and they're just like, well, what do you want me to do, Pastor Mark? Like, what is it that you're saying? Like, are you telling me to quit my job? So what is it? Like, if somebody is watching this and they're saying, man, what is he just ragging on me or what? What are you telling them?
I think that there's a different perspective. There's a higher level of understanding when it comes to being able to be in relationship with people, have customer service, to be able to grow the business that you are applying yourself towards. I think the sky's the limit. Promotions are available, higher pay, better positioning, but it comes with attitude. It comes with saying, I care. This on paper, Jimmy Lloyd might own this business and I might work for him as an hourly employee, but you know what? It's my business, and I'm going to look at it as it's my business, and I'm going to take care of it. That piece of trash on the floor, I'm not going to wait for Jimmy Lloyd to come in and tell me to pick it up. This is my business. As a son mindset, I'm going to walk over and pick that piece of paper up because this is my business, and I'm going to throw it away. I'm going to take the extra minute to clean that bathroom the way it should be because this is my bathroom. These are my customers coming in. These are people that deserve the best of what I have to offer to them. And I think this comes with a son and a daughter mentality of God who knows who they are versus a poverty mindset and a slave mindset that you always see in these current positions.
I think, I think it is a good point. You know, Colossians 3:23, it's just saying whatever you do it as you're working to the Lord, not as human master. And that if you really stopped and thought that, like you're working for whatever company, that you're working for, and it's, hey, I'm doing this for the Lord. Like instead of doing it for, hey, I'm doing it for Bill or whoever your boss is, I'm doing it for the Lord. It really, if you could get that in your head and change that mentality, it would definitely change how you're doing it. If it's like, man, God, my Heavenly Father, is the one that's telling me to do this, instead of, man, I'm just doing whatever I need to do to get by just until 5 o'clock or whatever it is. And I went through that just recently. It's like with working at the fire department. It's like, am I here just to collect a paycheck and just because my heart is in pastoring and doing ministry, so I'm at the fire department just to collect a paycheck? And it's like, well, then what am I doing here if I'm not benefiting the fire department that I'm working for? And I had to kind of like snap myself out of that mentality of, hey, just being here just as long as I have to be here, and then I get to go do what I want to do. And two, no matter what job you are, you're an opportunity to minister to the people that are around you, and not just, okay, I need to get out of this. And so I think definitely it changes our mindset. And you're right. I mean, it is, if you're as a son or daughter and you're thinking, hey, this is my business, I'm going to do this right, I'm going to make sure it's done in excellence. I mean, it definitely changes, and people will notice that. It's not just, oh, yeah, Jimmy's just doing this to get by. Yeah, look at all what he missed, It's just, yeah, you could tell his heart's not really in this. So, yeah, definitely. I 100% agree.
Now, I'm not saying that if you do take this approach that you won't face opposition, because I'll tell you right now, you will. I have taken many jobs before, and I have come in and I have worked because of my work ethic and because I had a son mentality. I came in and did the absolute best I could. I didn't cut any corners. I did things in perfection and excellence. And the people around me, the coworkers, were looking at me like, you are the biggest jerk in the world. You're trying to show us up. And this was in the beginning of the job. And I'm like, no, trust me, I'm not. I'm just working. You need to slow down because you're making us all look bad. This isn't what we do. We take our time around here. We take our breaks, and we don't go and we don't move unless, we're told to move. And we don't just, move this and sweep behind that unless someone tells us to. and I'm like, no, well, that's not me. And I just continued. And then when they saw after years of me not conforming to their way of doing things, they saw that it wasn't a show. It finally, light bulbs went off. Mm-hmm. They figured it out. It's not a show. It's just him not just starting trying to show people up and kiss butt. This is actually who Mark is. And they started to accept me. But it took years of opposition with them hating me and never including me in anything. And finally, they started to accept me and go, wow, he's really like this. So we're going to accept him like he is. And then finally, after about 5 years, the guys that I worked with finally started to come to me and accept me as being a minister from the Lord and be able to ask me questions after they saw my work ethic, and they watched me like a book. And they saw that I wasn't fake, and I wasn't there to show them up. I wasn't there to rat them out. I wasn't there to get a leg up. I wasn't there to step on them. I was just there to be a son and work as hard as I could and do what I was told I needed to do per my job obligation, and do it in the best way I could. And I went over and beyond what was asked of me.
Right.
So it was just real interesting how that, after so much opposition, that turned into opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So with that, so you got an orphan mindset, and then you got a slave mindset, and then you have a son and daughter mindset. And with that, can you give us can you give us any examples of maybe biblical characters that had these mindsets? And just kind of, so if we're looking at this and saying, okay, hey, did this person or did that person, or maybe some people coming out of that had one mindset and then it changed?
Well, I mean, as a group of people, you can go back and look at the Israelites, and you can see how they were a bunch of orphans and a bunch of slaves coming out of Egypt, and how they cried and complained, and how they were just murmuring and they were miserable. And how when they went to go spy out the land, everybody complained. You had two people with a son mindset. They were like, hey, we can go in, overtake the land. But then the ones who are orphans and slaves were like, no, we can't. And so basically God said, we're going to have to wait until this generation of orphan and slaves die out, the ones that were just grandfathered into Egypt's ways, until these orphans and slaves die, and so I can raise up a new generation of warriors for me and sons and daughters. And when he did, there was no force in the world that could withstand or hold back the Israelite troops. They were the conquering force of the world. Everybody was scared to death of them. When they got past that slave and poverty mindset and moved, when Joshua was moving with them after Moses had left and everybody had left, they were conquering every city, every nation they stepped foot into. They were just sweeping across the land as sons and daughters. I mean, it was just a total, you can just see it, a total mind shift and who they were.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that you can even see that with the disciples. They're sitting here arguing which one's the greatest. You got the brothers, you got James and John, saying, hey, Jesus, we get a seat next to you, right? Even to the point where they got their mom involved. And then you go in to the New Testament and you see, in Peter's writings and then in John's writings, where they definitely came out of that orphan or slave mindset into realizing who they are. And I think we see it more with John. I think probably John, you even see it in when you're reading through, the Gospel of John, where he was the only disciple there actually at the cross, and referred to himself as the disciple who Jesus loved, knowing that it was Jesus' love and him understanding that and understanding that son mindset. But you see even more as you read, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, you read Revelations, and just knowing who he is. You imagine, like, if you imagine somebody with an orphan or slave mindset experiencing and seeing the things that the Apostle John saw in Revelations. I mean, he would have lost his mind. So to go from the mindset where at one point him and his brother are arguing and got their mother involved and trying to have that position in heaven with Jesus, to understanding and realizing who he was, that he was apparently the only one, or the main one that God could trust, Jesus could trust to give the revelation from the book of Revelation to. So you see that it's a huge difference. So if you're sitting there and you feel like, man, I have an orphan mindset, I have a slave mindset, there's hope in, hey, you don't have to stay there. You don't have to be there. There's just understanding that you are a son or a daughter. And then when you understand that, you got to realize so is all the people around you too are sons and daughters. And I don't care who you are, or how much I like you, or how good of friends we are. I mean, Brandon can be my best bud. We can be hanging out. I walk around the corner and then I start hearing Brandon. He's talking about my son or my daughter. You can bet, all bets are off. We're not. We're gonna have some words. And the same thing. Dude, it's a terrible feeling. And you have kids, like when your son and daughter. I go to breakfast. One of my favorite things to do, going to breakfast with my kids, going to breakfast with Aiden and Kinsley. Without fail, though, they start arguing, and it's just like splitting you in two. It's tearing you apart. So when you understand you're a son or daughter, you can't just understand, hey, I'm a son or daughter, and then screw everybody else. Yeah. They're also sons or daughters, and it's and you should be treating them like that. And then that changes everything. Imagine if that manager you're talking about with the milkshake would have treated that and would have thought of themselves as a son or daughter, then treated that employee as a son or daughter, and then treated their customers, you and your son, as sons and daughters. What a difference that would have made. We would probably be doing a whole different podcast on how that it made you feel. It would have been a lasting impression. So, yeah, I think it's important. It's not just when you come to that realization, it don't only change your mindset, it changes of how you think of you, but also how you think of everybody else.
I give this analogy sometimes, but I used to have a wrestling coach,
the Hulkster,
and he would play this like metal music to inspire people, and he would get angry and create an atmosphere of anger in there as we were practicing. And I remember thinking to myself, and this is when I got this revelation that, man, I look around the room, and when he turns his back and is not paying attention, everybody goofs off. Everybody just takes a break.
Yeah.
Because they're only doing enough to make it through the class, the length of the class, without getting yelled at. So they're performing not to their highest ability for this guy, but they're performing to get, number one, his affirmation from them, okay? And so that they don't get yelled at. And they're only doing just enough to get by.
And only in front of him.
And then only in front of him. But when he stops and goes out of the room, everybody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but old Mark was. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I recognize this. And then I was under the another environment under another guy who played a better kind of music, an uplifting more kind of music. And when a person failed in the class, they would go up and say, hey, I know you learned something from this. I know next time, you can do better. I know next time you will do better. I have confidence in you that next time this comes up, you will knock this out of the park 100% because you've just now learned from your mistake. And I know that you can do this. And this person edified them and spoke into that person. And I'm telling you, when that person turned their back and left the room, people were still operating at their highest level to compete possible. And if this guy would have said, jump in front of a bullet for me, they would have done it.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to ask them.
No.
Yeah. So going back to that, like he would play metal music, like what, like Iron Maiden? Like what would he play?
All kind of death metal, man. It was just the atmosphere. Like it was just the atmosphere killer.
Speaking of
For
that,
me anyway.
it just brings up a question I was going to ask you, because there's two songs for me personally that gets me going, and it's
Ice Baby.
no, that one
Morning.
isn't. It does get me dancing. Yeah, I mean that's a good song without a doubt.
And Katy Perry, Roar.
Yeah, it is a good song. Yeah,
Can
you sing a little bit of that?
Those were your two, right?
What is the song? What is that? The Katy Perry song? The Firework. That's the one that gets me going. Yeah.
Firework.
Yeah. Your firework. No?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the two songs.
Okay.
First, Eye of the Tiger, Survivor.
Uh-huh.
That one, that's a given. That is with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You can, if they would just play that song, like any business, you guys didn't even come here for business advice. But if you own any business, you play that song on repeat, your employees, they're going to do the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It gets you going. The second one, you might not be as familiar with this. I know you've heard it before. The listeners, maybe not. I Am a Real American. That is Hulk Hogan's theme song back from the 80s. That is, without question, one of the top songs.
Real American. Yeah,
yes.
that song, yeah.
And this is just, you don't have to answer it in front of everybody because I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
But I say on Sunday mornings before every service, we can rotate with doing those two songs. We can throw in Firework from Katy Perry if you want to. That's only for special occasions. But on a normal Sunday, we can even rotate them first, second service. Eye of the Tiger and I Am a Real American. And we will see a difference. I strongly believe that.
Wow.
Yeah. People they'll be fighting to get through the doors.
Wow.
We maybe play outside.
Ladies and gentlemen, this advice is free, too. I mean, it's free. It's at no cost. I mean, just his experience.
Yeah.
But no cost to you. I mean, this is just stuff that people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to like reserve a seat at one of Pastor Jimmy's seminars.
Yes.
And he's giving you this advice for nothing right now.
Saying it's free.
Yeah.
Say like afterwards. Say you go to Cracker Barrel and you eat. What do you do afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
You pay for it, right?
Yeah.
So just in case anybody does.
I was going to say I poo, but yeah, pay for it. That goes first. Then I poo.
Yeah, because if you pooed before you paid, they would think you just got up and left.
Right.
And then that could
Look,
be
again, right here, ladies and gentlemen, free.
I don't even try.
Free. Things that you normally would pay for at a seminar from Pastor Jimmy, but free right here
pay before
in
you
the
poop.
lobby. Like and share. Free. Words of wisdom. Go.
We could probably throw that on Twitter.
Go.
Pay before you poop.
Go.
All right. So with this, if anybody wants to, though, give. We have Tithely open. You can do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Text to give. And Venmo. You can just look my name up.
Right.
Just in case you want to, if you're being divinely persuaded to give.
Mm.
So, what do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, we seen you were going to say something there, Brandon.
Yeah, I had a question.
Go, Brandon.
I had a question.
Go, Brandon.
Oh, my gosh. From what you were saying earlier, I think wrestling intros would be a really good idea for pastors. Have you ever seen a church do that kind of thing? Like big flashy intro, song, lights, everything?
I would be 100% for it. Anybody that is against that, they probably pray to the devil. Because that would be awesome to do that. Like how about like how Sting used to? I could come down from the ceiling.
Yeah, I don't know if our insurance would cover that, but maybe.
Check on that, Brandon. Check our insurance.
Yep.
See if they'll cover that.
Yeah.
Either way, order some boas, and entrance music right away.
Would you want to wear tighty whities or leggings?
It's not tighty whities; they're trunks.
Well, yeah, but they're like tighty whities.
Well, they're not. Not many were white. Rick the model Martell wore white ones.
Stings were white.
He had the leggings with a scorpion on it.
He also had
which
trunks
is pretty
in his
cool.
earlier days, and they were white.
I never remember seeing Sting.
Ultimate
Steve
Warrior.
Borden
Ultimate
in
Warrior
trunks.
wore
Yes,
white
he did. Yes.
trunks.
Ultimate Warrior did.
Yes.
What's his name?
And
Jim.
Sting did
I
too.
can't remember his last name.
You know who else wore white trunks?
Hulk Hogan did for a period wear white
Yes.
trunks.
But you know who else? Jimmy Superfly Snuka
Yes.
wore white trunks.
He did at one time, but he's more famous for the leopard ones.
Leopard ones, but he did at one time wear some white ones.
Ricky Steamboat, but his was trunks, not.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wore white.
Yeah.
Yeah, white would just be. I wouldn't. That wouldn't be my first choice
Okay.
of white trunks. Yeah, but I would probably be more of a leggings guy, or the ones that kind of go the strap.
You know who else wore
the
white
onesies.
leggings? Big John Stud.
Big John Stud did with stars on it.
Yeah.
Yes, and red boots.
Yeah. Looked like
Yes.
Santa.
Santa. Yeah,
Yeah, big Santa.
he did. He did. So I have no idea how we got talking about this.
Nope.
But obviously it's very important.
It is.
So
we are being led by the Lord.
As we're getting ready to close, we did have a question. I remember reading it last week on this, and somebody asked, and I think this would be a good question for you. We have talked about this. We did a whole podcast kind of on this, but what does resting in Jesus look like? Is what they asked. Not even really what does it mean, but an example of what does it look like. That was a question from last week. Somebody put that on a comment. Like, what does it look like? And, I could see where some people was like, man, am I doing this thing right? Like, I see trying to compare yourself, the inside of your life, to the outside of other people's lives. We got these social scoreboards that we can go on Facebook or Instagram or whatever and see this portrait of what everybody else's life is, and then it's easy to get discouraged about yours and say, man, everybody else, all these other Christians, everybody else at Farallon, they're resting in Jesus. Why? It's not working for me. So this person, are you able to answer that? What does resting in Jesus look like?
Well, resting in Jesus, to me, is being able to use Jesus as a filter that everything flows through. If in my world, and I'll give you an analogy here, in a worldly sense, I used to think that rest looked like sitting down in front of the TV watching a movie, and that was rest to me. That was relaxation and rest to me.
Most people do.
Right. And then, I had to find that commonplace that's not really rest, that's not really relaxation, that, being able to have time with the Lord, be grounded in the Lord, and just moving in His Spirit, man. I mean, I know it sounds weird or churchy, but, man, it's really not. When I am submerged in Jesus and the Spirit of God is leading me, time is not an issue. It seems like, I can't really describe it. It seems like everything falls in place and becomes effortlessly done. Does that make sense?
It does.
I am no longer in a hurry.
Right.
Because I'm one of those people that are in a hurry. I got to be early to everything. I got to be on time.
Me too.
I've got to have my whole day planned out. I've got to know it by hour where I'm going to be, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to end up, what time I'm going to be going to bed, what time's dinner going to be. I got to know all this stuff, but none of that, all that stuff just melts away when I'm in Jesus, and it seems like I show up at the perfect time and everything's just already done. And there's no worries, there's no cares. It's just like resting in the Lord because my mindset is focused on Him. Right. Mind focused in the Spirit is life. Mind focused on the flesh is death. And so it's just, where's your perspective? Where's your mindset? And you can rest in Him perpetually, every day, every second, and everything can go through Jesus. Acknowledge Jesus in all your ways, and He'll make your path straight. I mean, everything can be filtered through Him. You can perpetually rest in Him.
Yeah. And you know why? Like, you can just get there and like everything's done. It's because Pastor Jimmy got there an hour before you did and did everything. I'm just kidding about that. So I think that is a good description. For me, I think it does go back to the sons and daughters and knowing that you're a son and daughter. And I think how I've found rest in Jesus and how it looks like for me is knowing where I'm not afraid to mess up. Like, I can just royally screw up. I'm not going to get everything right, yet I'm still loved. And in that, I find rest. In that, I'm not striving. I'm not like, okay, I got to do enough or I got to prove enough. It's like, all right, I'm going to make a mistake. And I think a lot of people find that resting in Jesus is like I'm just always happy. And I don't see that really with anybody in the Bible where they're just always happy. I mean, I'm reading right now. I told you I've been struggling, like reading through Psalms, because it's like one chapter, David's like all happy, he's all excited. The next one, he's like, God, where are you? Why have you forsaken me? You know, why have you left me here to die? And the next minute, it's like, God, knock the teeth out of my enemies. And it's just like, dude, what is up, David? Like, you are an emotional basket case. But it's not that you're just always happy. That's what we all want, you know. I mean, that's like in our mind, that's this picture of how my life should be. You know, I should have a house, I should have 2.5 kids, I should have, you know, a loving spouse, I should have this perfect job, this nice car, all these good friends that constantly call me and just want to hang out with me. And, you know, it's always I binge watch a series and it just never ends. I never go to the final episode and then have to wait till Friday to see the next one. Like, everything's just going perfect. And that's not, that's not resting in Jesus. That's just this mindset that's not really obtainable, you know. But it is that, hey, okay, I got upset. Yeah, I messed up and I maybe said a word I shouldn't have said in front of my kids. But you know what? Jesus still loves me. I'm still a son or daughter. I'm not kicked out of the family because of this. He's not saying I'm not walking out my door and because I got mad and yelled at my wife about something or got whatever. I'm not gonna walk out and then a rattlesnake's gonna bite me on the ankle. You know, that is not. You know, God's gonna say, okay, here's rattlesnakes at me. Thank God He don't do that, because I do not like any kind of snakes. It wouldn't even have to be a rattlesnake. But just knowing that, you know, just being able to find that rest and knowing that not only can I make mistakes, He already knows. See, I'm already talking about snakes. He already knows I'm going to make a mistake. Yet He still loves me. You know, He called me to be there you go, some music. Somebody's calling. They're like, you got to stop him from talking. But just, you know, hey, He knew that I was going to mess up as the head of the Lloyd household, except he still put me there. He knew I'd mess up and make mistakes as a pastor, yet He still put me in that position. He knew I was going to make mistakes as a friend, but He still gave me friends, you know, still put friends around me, surrounded me with people that I love. And just knowing that is not because I did everything perfect. So in that, I find rest in Jesus with that. So yeah, I may get mad when I leave here. I may get upset. There's a good chance that in the very near future, I'm going to be late for something. It's a good chance. I know you're shocked at that. But Jesus still loves me, and I'm still a son. I'm still a daughter. So,
right.
Yeah. I find rest with that. So I don't think it necessarily looks like how we think it should look like. And find rest. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha. That's a good perspective.
We'd like to know, what's your perspective? What do you think? And, of course, always we want you to ask us questions. You can throw it in the comment section. We'll read them. We'll throw them out there. If you want to send us questions privately, my email is jimmy.farallonchurch@gmail.com. Mark's is mark.farallonchurch@gmail.com. So you can, Brandon should be throwing them up here on the screen so you can see them. You can email us there. And, yeah, I think we'd love to hear from you. So I think that's it. I don't know if I got anything else. So thank you for joining us on this very busy Friday night. We appreciate it. And if you are free this Sunday, if you don't have a home church, or if your home church is Fairlawn Church, we'd love to see you here. 9 a.m. first service, 11 a.m. the second service, 6 p.m. is our Spanish service.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and you don't have to speak Spanish to come. That's pretty cool. That, we have people that come to our Spanish service that don't even speak Spanish, and get a lot out of it. Good things, having good reports about our Spanish service. So, yeah, we'd love to see you this Sunday, and we're going to give away a basket of candy. So who does not want candy? And maybe, I don't know if we're going to start it yet, either Eye of the Tiger or I'm a Real American. Maybe comment which one you'd rather hear.
Yeah.
Or if you have a better song idea, we'd love to hear. Or, I tell you what, how about this? What do you think Pastor Mark's intro song, if we had intro songs, should be when he comes out to speak? And what do you think mine should be when he comes out to speak? And what do you think Brandon should be when he walks out of the sound booth? Because he needs one for that. We need to give Pastor Chantel an entrance song too.
She gets one too?
Yeah, she gets one too. It's not as cool as ours. Maybe like Macho Man's. What was his? It was just like
yeah, something.
Yeah, I don't know, like what you
crazy.
walk down for graduation or something. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, like that. Nothing as cool. I don't think you can even hear that. Yeah, we're probably getting so yeah, it's good stuff. So we're gonna end with that song playing. So, all right, guys, we love you. Thank you for joining us in the lobby.